You just got done with your live outing, and now you're just standing there wondering what you're actually supposed to do with your arm after you throw. Most guys either just skip it completely, or they just pull an exercise from Instagram that they saw earlier that day. Today I'm going to break down the actual framework that I use with our pitchers. And it's going to be split into two categories. What we do short term, so what we do immediately after we throw, and then what we do long term, what we'll be managing all year round. So happy Monday. If you're new here, I'm Matt, a physical therapist and a former Division I pitcher at Clemson, and I've spent the last several years helping to rebuild arms that broke down and help healthy arms stay that way. And so when we think about arm care, it really comes down to two categories. You have your short-term category, which is going to be your mobility and your strength, so what you're doing immediately after you throw, and you have your long-term care. So this is going to be our workload management and then just our recovery tactics. Let's break down both of these categories. So first up, let's talk mobility. And so if you just throw and then call it a day after that, not restoring your range of motion whatsoever, here's what's actually happening to your arm, whether you feel it or not. So throwing puts a ton of stress on your shoulder and your elbow and even your rib cage. So it's typically going to leave you a little bit tighter than you were before you threw. That's normal. What's not normal is ignoring it. And so if you just walk away once you're done throwing without actually restoring that range of motion, it doesn't just magically reset the next day. It's going to carry over. And outing by outing, that tightness starts to stack, whether you feel it or not. And so now you're just living in this constant state of limited range of motion. And if your shoulder can't get to where it needs to go, it's going to find that motion from somewhere else. And that's typically going to be your elbow or even into your back. So that's not adapting. That's just your body learning to compensate. But compensations don't really show pain right away. It's going to take some time, develop some wear and tear, and then that's when those injuries start to happen. This is why mobility is so important after you throw, to help restore that range of motion that we lost while we were throwing. Okay, so I have 3 examples here. Go ahead and save these 3 exercises for your next arm care routine. Okay, so the first exercise is just a rack supported deep squat. All you're going to do is hang on to a door frame or even a squat rack bar, and you're going to sit back onto your heels into a deep squat, and you're just going to breathe here. This exercise is great for releasing those muscles along the shoulder blades and just getting air flowing back into the rib cage to help restore that range of motion. So for the second exercise, we all know how tight our shoulders feel after we throw, and especially after those live outings. So these standing arm spirals are going to be great to help restore that internal and external range of motion. What you'll do is just start standing, arms out to the side, and then you'll rotate each arm through its full range of motion, alternating each arm. Okay, so this third exercise is one of my personal favorites, the kettlebell arm bar. Now this is a great exercise for helping to open up that thoracic spine and the shoulder all together. So working through all 3 of these after you're done throwing is going to help restore that shoulder range of motion and get that mid-back moving a little bit better. Okay, so it's simple. Restore that range of motion that you just used. Don't let it stack up outing by outing. Okay, your future arm is going to depend on restoring that motion ASAP. All right, so you just got done throwing. Thrown out to 60 feet, bullpen, live outing, doesn't matter. Did you train your arm afterwards, or did you just walk away and call it a day after you were done throwing? So throwing breaks down your arm. That's just what high speed, repetitive stress does to tissue. Every rep that you throw is another round of micro trauma. Strength work is how you actually build your arm back up and start to adapt to that stress, instead of just letting all of those micro traumas build up time after time after time. And so if you never train the arm afterwards, you're just leaving that breakdown exactly where you left it. It's going to compound pitch after pitch, outing after outing. Here's what's actually at stake. Skip that work consistently, and you're going to start to see your strength numbers drop pretty quickly. So now we're looking for specific benchmarks, especially in our pitchers. Is their external rotation strength 20% of their body weight? Is their internal rotation strength at 90 degrees, so that overhead position about 15% of their body weight? And is their external rotation strength at 90 degrees, so once again that overhead position, is that about 10% of our body weight? And then finally, we want to look for an ER to IR strength ratio of about 66%. These aren't just arbitrary numbers. These are the numbers that tell us if your shoulder is strong enough to actually handle all the stress that you're about to go put on it when you're throwing. Dip below those numbers, and that's when your shoulder isn't strong enough to withstand all of that stress. And that's when these injuries start to come on. And so this is why strength work is so important for after we throw. And and we're not just babying it, okay? Let's get rid of the 1/4 inch band. We're going to train the shoulder like we do any other muscle group, like we would with our quads or our lats or our chest. So here's 3 strength exercises that I want you to save and implement into that arm care program. Exercise number 1 is side lying external rotation. So this is a very basic exercise, but I want you to roll up a towel, place it in between your elbow and your body, and then grab a moderate to heavy weight, and then we're going to just build that external rotation strength through a controlled motion. Alright, so with exercise number 2, we're going to build some overhead strength with our supine 90-90 isometric. Now I want you to grab that moderate to heavy dumbbell once again. You're going to place a towel underneath your arm, and then I want you to let the back of your hand fall towards the floor about 45 degrees. Once you're there, you're going to hold for about 10 seconds and then complete this 10 times. Now just an all-time lift right here, the landmine press. I love this one to help build some upper body strength and develop some scap coordination. Let's get pretty heavy with this one. Okay, knock out 3 rounds or so of 8 to 10 reps, and then go ahead and add this one into your upper body lifts going forward. So 3 different angles, all with the same goal in mind, just helping to develop a healthy, strong shoulder that can handle all of that stress that we put on it throughout the course of the season. And so if you take one thing from this section, train your arm like you would the rest of your body. Okay, rebuild it after every time that you break it down. That's the whole game. And if you want my full system with an arm care program that matches how much you threw that day, go ahead and check the link in the description below. All right, so let's zoom out just a little bit. We just talked about our mobility and our strength. So that's going to cover our short-term, immediate arm care that we're doing right after we're done throwing. Now we're going to get into a new category of our workload and our recovery, which is something that you're going to be managing all year round. So let's talk workload. So how much did you throw this week? Or how much did you throw last month? Or even last year? If you don't know, that's a problem. And so this isn't just a day-to-day thing that we're monitoring. This is a full calendar year approach that we're going to start doing. Okay, I want you guys monitoring your workload from January all the way to December. So here's the pattern that I see way too often. Guys aren't throwing enough throughout the course of the week, and then boom, they get hit with a big time showcase on a weekend where they have a massive travel ball tournament. There's no actual ramp up period. What we want the week to look like is we want it to look like this wave where we're mixing in some low effort days, some moderate level days, and then finally some high effort days such as our bullpens or our live outings. If we ride this wave throughout the course of the entire year, we never give our arm a time to get caught off guard. If we ignore this, then it usually goes one of 2 ways. Either we didn't throw enough and our arm is underprepared for that travel ball tournament or that showcase, or we are simply throwing too much, where we're doing too much all the time and we never actually bring it down into those low or moderate level days. And so none of those 2 ideas are better than the other. They're both going to put you at an injury risk. And so really, guys would just benefit from mixing in some more casual, lighter catch days. That way we can add some of those light volume days to our week. And so that'll balance out all of those high intensity days that we're doing on the weekend. It's not about throwing less or even throwing more. It's really just knowing where we're at and preparing our arm for whatever we have coming up. This is why workload isn't something you're just going to check once. This is something that you're going to monitor. All right, last one, recovery. So you can do everything perfect. All of that mobility and strength work. You can even be perfect at monitoring your workload, but if we don't recover right, you can still fall apart. And so this section is not complicated. I'm really only looking for you guys to sleep 7+ hours a night, eating a full, well-balanced meal, and then hydrating throughout the entire course of the day. Skip the basics, and none of that work that you did that day even holds up. Poor sleep means we're not giving our body a time to actually recover, and then poor nutrition or hydration means we're not giving our body the fuel that it needs to help rebuild from all the work that we put in that day. It's not flashy, so it can be easy to overlook, but it is the foundation that everything else sits on. And it's really that simple. All I'm looking for is 7+ hours of sleep, a full, well-balanced meal, so not just grabbing a granola bar on the way to class or practice or whatever it might be, and then hydrating throughout the course of the day. And you can do all the high-intensity training that you want, but if we're not nailing down these basics, then all of that can really just be a waste of time. And so that's the framework. We have our 2 categories. We have our immediate arm care, which is our mobility and our strength work, and then we have the things that we're monitoring throughout the course of the year, like our workload and our recovery. All right, most arm care plans we'll give you one, maybe two of those 4 things. But right here, we're tying all 4 together because that's going to give you the best chance of staying healthy. All right, so that is a wrap on this arm care video. If you do want that arm care program with the full protocol, go ahead and check that description below. If you don't want to wait till next Monday's video, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at mattclark_DPT for daily content. All right, gang, I'll see you next Monday.